Hey everybody, what is going on? Raven here. Welcome back to the channel. We got some more Charmed info for you all today. Now these are some things that make no sense about the original Charmed show. And one of those is Paige's age. In the series' 100th episode, Paige uses her magical powers to see an alternate scenario where she loses her life and her tombstone says that she was born in 1977. However, the show already depicts Paige being a few years old in 1977, when her sister Phoebe was born. So does that mean that Phoebe is actually the youngest sister still? Or is that just a mistype somewhere? Next is about when Prue passed away. So when Prue lost her life in the final episode of the 3rd season, she never appeared on the show again in any way, which doesn't really make sense when they're a bunch of witches and they talk to dead witches, dead family members all the time. So why wouldn't they talk to her? Well, we know why Shannon Doherty left the series. Because she and Alyssa Milano at the time did not get along. But I would be hopeful that at some point, having time away from each other, that things would have ended up getting better and Prue could have made a ghostly appearance at some point. Next up is the inconsistent powers of the Charmed Ones. So what I mean specifically is that when the Halliwells venture into another reality, they adopt the powers that they have in the parallel universe. Yet when Paige enters a reality where she never became a witch, she lacks her White Lighter powers, although she's still a White Lighter. So how does that make sense? I'm thinking, for example, that this is when Cole became an avatar. He changed reality so that Phoebe would stay his wife and Paige was killed off. So the Paige in that reality was buried. So the normal Paige from the normal reality kind of didn't have any powers, which makes sense because the other reality of Paige died. So I think that does kind of make sense. Next up is when Paige was in prison, she actually could have gotten herself out. So when she was sent to prison, why didn't she just use a spell to get herself out? Some people have speculated that Paige was unable to get herself out of jail because the cell she was in was enchanted in some way to prevent her from leaving. And since we know that at the one point when Paige was in jail, Cole was kind of the reason that she went in there. Because of the car accident and the innocent person passing away, we all know that's Cole's doing. So maybe Cole prevented her from being able to use magic, which would go along with that speculation. Next, villains turned down opportunities to destroy the girls. There are quite a few demons and bad supernatural beings that didn't actually try to get rid of the Charmed Ones. Like we know for multiple episodes that Cole actually had the power to defeat the Charmed Ones, but he never did. So that's just one example. Another one would be the Denzians of the Underworld had the ability to teleport. But for some unexplained reason, they never bothered to just enter the Charmed One's house and put an end to them, or to at least try to attack them off. It just doesn't really make sense. Don't you think that if they had the power to do so, they should have done a little bit better with that? Next up is the Source's backstory. The Underworld is ruled by a figure known as the Source of all evil, which has to be the most ominous, ridiculously ominous job title imaginable. Not my words. How exactly does one become the Source? Well, the show doesn't provide us with any consistent rules on how one becomes the source of all evil. In season 4, characters say that one must touch the magical book known as a grimoire to become the source. But later, Barbas claims that he can become the source simply by using his powers. I'm also thinking, I'm going to throw my little thought in here as well, is that you have to be so strong of a demon. You know, that other demons can't just easily take you out and become the next source. So I think you have to be at least an upper level demon and have other demons fear you or respect you or both to have the source's title. The next item is the fact that the sisters use their magic for personal gain without major consequences. We all know that the show establishes good witches do not use their magic for selfish purposes. If they do, there will be supernatural repercussions. However, look at this part here. Phoebe transforms a rival advice columnist into a turkey, recalling a running gag from an earlier television show. Now, technically, she wasn't herself. The witch doctor ended up tricking the charmed ones, so they weren't actually themselves. Part of what the witch doctor did was put something more in power. I don't remember quite how that worked. I know the witch doctor took one item from each sister, and it caused a whole bunch of craziness to happen. I'm thinking that's maybe why she didn't get any repercussions, because it wasn't under her own free will that she did that. Next one is multiple Pipers. So we all know in the 4th season, Piper travels through time to prevent Phoebe from saving Miles, her current boyfriend, because he keeps dying. The Angel of Death wants him. And once her mission is complete, because she's kind of done a little bit of time travel, the other version of herself, the one where the reality doesn't make sense anymore, just fades away. However, in the last season of Charmed, when Piper travels back to kind of save Phoebe and Paige because of the ultimate power, two Pipers kind of combine into one being after they save them, and the Charmed ones win, and Leo gets to come back. Why does that happen? How did that happen? Why was that so inconsistent like that? Next one on the list is Possession. Now, it's a long-running show involving demons, so it's inevitably going to use demonic possession as a plot point. However, when one of the Howard sisters gets possessed, it takes a ridiculous amount of time for anyone else, like the sisters, the husbands, anything like that, to notice something is amiss. They're supposed to know each other. And they also know that demons exist and can possess people, or that dark spirits can do that, or just souls. When a sibling starts acting out of character, the other two should start suspecting demonic activity, but they don't. Is that just a horrible plot point, or do they want you to think that the sisters don't know each other as well as they should, type thing? Next up is the Halliwell men. When Wyatt is born, Grams becomes upset, as she believed that men can't be trusted with magic, which makes no sense, as Wyatt isn't the first male Halliwell in a long family line. Family records show that Grams had a brother, although we never meet him on the show or anything like that. Also, she grew up around her magical brother, presumably, so why on earth would she be upset about the existence of another male Halliwell? Well, considering the fact that Grams has been dead for a very long time, maybe her brother didn't have magic. Or maybe he did and he ended up having to have his powers, taken away from him. Maybe he just wasn't able to be trusted with it. Who knows? We never really found out much about Grams' brother or anything like that. The next one is the Elders. We all know the Elders. They are a group of magical beings that oversee all the good magic. In the first 4 seasons of the show, the Elders are mysterious, strict, and morally upright guardians who are almost never seen. They are powerful enough to entomb the mythical titans for being immortal, and then create the gods of Mount Olympus. They sound pretty good-hearted and powerful beings. But as time progressed and the show went on, the seasons added up, the Elders went from being able to make gods to needing witches to protect them. So why did they go from being an all-powerful entity to needing the charmed ones or other witches to protect them all the time? Now, maybe because a lot of them were taken out and they felt threatened, or maybe they just weren't as powerful as we at first thought. I mean, who knows? Next one would be Wyatt's hair color. So, as Piper's son was being born, Phoebe says she had a premonition that the child would have dark hair. Which, considering the fact that Piper and Leo both had darker hair is not that far off to come to a conclusion of. However, when Wyatt was born, he's actually a blonde. While this inconsistency is small, it is part of a larger pattern of inconsistency within the smaller details of Charmed. Now, I have dark hair. My husband has dark hair. Our son's hair is on the lighter side, so it's not impossible. If you have dominantly dark hair and so does your spouse, If you both had the recessive blonde gene, your child could have blonde hair. Just throwing that out there. Next is Phoebe's drinking. In the episode The Importance of Being Phoebe, a shape-shifting demon named Kaya transformed into Phoebe. This kind of goes with the other one, where possession thing. Because it took the sisters plenty of time for them to realize that Phoebe was not Phoebe. And now, according to Cole, Phoebe doesn't drink alcohol. However, we've seen multiple times that Phoebe has been drinking alcohol. And we all know that when we saw her originally, she was kind of like the bad girl, the rebel, things like that. So, the question is, why didn't Cole know Phoebe was a drinker? At least occasionally. You know? Especially considering the fact that he's been in love with her for so long, things like that. Next is the cleaners. We all remember the cleaners. They tried to erase Wyatt from reality. Basically, the cleaner's job is to erase the appearance of magic in front of civilians, in front of non-magic individuals. However, they only come around one time, and like I said, it was because Wyatt brought a dragon into reality. So why is it that when other times this happened, they didn't come? Like with the whole Shax thing, and Piper and Prue were caught using magic in front of the humans. Why didn't the cleaners come and clean that up? Next up is when the Charmed Ones faked their death. I'll remember those episodes when the Charmed Ones basically held their own funerals. Now, according to the show, when you see that Paige's little section was basically attended by members of the leprechaun community. And Glenn Belland, who, as we've seen, has been friends with Paige for a long time, and they even kind of had a little romantic interest. Well, I don't want to say romantic interest, but they did some things together. But Paige had a biological family and an adopted family. So why wouldn't people from either family want to come and, give their respects at her funeral? Makes no sense. Next is the necromancer. So Grams fell for a bad boy, like most Halliwell family members tend to do, or bad girl, whatever. So Grams fell for a bad boy, though her boyfriend was badder than most. He was a demon known as the necromancer. Grams ended the relationship in a pretty blunt way by banishing him. So he waltzes back into Grams' life decades after the relationship ended so he can give Wyatt a blessing. What a very forgiving man. However, Graham says she banished the necromancer when her daughter Patty was an infant, and then says that he had been banished 70 years ago. Well, how can that be? That doesn't add up with the timeline. So, when was the necromancer banished? Who knows? Maybe that's just Grams being Grams and not remembering every little thing. I doubt that, though, very much. Next is Leo's teleportation powers. So Leo, the amazing World War II veteran, the White Lighter, the Elder, the Avatar, and the poor human, he has done a lot of things in his life. During his wartime service, he made some huge mistakes, leaving behind the pair of brothers, Nathan and Rick, to their fates. They vowed revenge, but they cannot physically harm him because of the powers he holds as a White Lighter. So then they start to go after his charge, Maria, and then they go after Piper. But during their pursuit with Maria, they encounter Leo and restrain him so that he can't stop them from hurting her. He is restrained for some time, despite the fact that Leo has teleportation powers. I don't get how it can go from they can't hurt him or restrain him, they can't touch him, to not being able to do all those things. It doesn't make the most sense. Next up is Piper's understanding of White Lighters. Since she's been married to a White Lighter and she has White Lighter children, you would think she would know a whole lot about White Lighters. However, despite the fact that she's been married to one, she doesn't understand much about them, and is shocked to learn that White Lighters can have children with mortals, in spite of the fact that she had a premonition that she would have Leo's child. So, are witches just prone to memory loss? And how did Piper have a premonition of having a child with Leo? That's not her power. So for me, that's another thing. she can't have really a premonition. That's just not how this works. Next up is alternate timelines. So one of the alternate timeline in Charmed was when Paige accidentally altered the past so that Piper never lived to become a mother. Yet, somehow, someway, Piper's descendants are still alive in the timeline. This only makes sense if Wyatt and Chris are so powerful that they sprung into existence without ancestors. Now, I'm unfortunate to say that this part I don't really remember. That she altered the past that much that Piper never became a mom. I don't remember that. So if you guys remember that episode, let me know in the comment section down below. But I'm thinking that maybe time fixed itself. And last on the list for today is Leo's healing powers. So White Lighters had the power to heal. However, the show establishes that all White Lighters are unable to bring people back from the dead. Piper and Leo switch bodies so that Piper can use Leo's powers. Leo passes away, but Piper manages to save him. Why is Leo able to save himself if White Lighters cannot bring people back to life? If Leo can bring people back, why hasn't he bothered to bring back Prue and numerous other good individuals, witches, White Lighters, good, civilians, anyone who has lost their lives over the course of the series? Is Leo a heartless fallen angel? Or is he a demon like my other video? You have to check that one out. So what did y'all think of today's video? I think some of it makes sense, but some of this does not make sense. Like which one? The alternate realities one, to me, did not really make sense to me. The rest of them, I could pretty much see a lot of being true. Like, it's a plot hole. Doesn't really make sense. But let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. And also, if you like my channel, if you like my video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and notification bell. It is free to do, and it shows support for my channel, which I am trying to upload every single day, which I pretty much have been. I will see you all in the next video. Bye!